What's up, everyone? Welcome to a brand new episode of Johnson's Court. Now, today it's only going to be me. Beagle had something coming up, but as you guys know, he works for the Philadelphia Eagles, and they've got a short week this week. They play on Thursday nights. When we get to that Thursday night game, we will definitely talk about them. But with that being said, it's probably going to be a shorter episode, but we're just going to go into it, okay? Last week was probably my best record I've done so far. Luckily, somehow, the teams are on my side, I guess. I went 10-5. So I had a winning record, and also not only that, but I beat Beagle. So I'm like, that's why I also wanted him to be on here to be like, hey, look, I beat you. This may not ever happen again, but hopefully he goes back and watches this video and he can see that I won last week. But he went 9-6, so he was right there as well. With that being said, the total record he has is 75 wins, 47 losses, and 1 tie. Now I'm still pretty far behind with only 60 wins, 62 losses, and 1 tie. So I'm trying to get that record above, at least get more wins than I do losses. Now, I really want to talk about, somebody or Beagle about this because, I can give my opinion. I wonder what other people think as well. But are Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers done? Is this their final year? Does Tom Brady finally call it quits after what he's going through in his personal life? If he doesn't make the playoffs, or if he doesn't even make the Super Bowl? With that being said, does Aaron Rodgers quit this year? Does he retire? Does he just give up on football? Or does he give it another year in Green Bay and hopefully they do more for his receivers and the receivers mature and get better over the course of this season? Or does he leave and go somewhere else and then maybe sign for a year or two, kind of like Tom Brady? Now, I know Aaron Rodgers is only in his mid-30s, I think 33, 34, so kind of far away from Tom Brady. But, most people, retire by the age of 35 or whatever. So Aaron Rodgers, I feel like, doesn't have too much time left on his contract or in his time in the league. So me personally, I think Tom Brady is either done after this year or he plays again. I know he said that, retiring's not really in the future. I know he kind of did a little bit maybe because of personal reason and things like that. But now that I kind of see, maybe he's hungrier than ever, maybe if it doesn't go this way, he's like, give it one more year. Which, he's got a, still relatively healthy body that he can, so I don't see why he wouldn't. And then with Aaron Rodgers, I think that if it doesn't go his way in Green Bay towards the end of the year, I think either he gets traded, goes to another team, or he either calls it quits. What do you guys think below? Comment what you guys think. Are Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers done in the NFL? Now, there was a lot of trades that happened. There was a trade deadline happened yesterday. Now, there were a lot of trades. I'm only going to go over a few because there were a lot of trades, and I just don't have time for all of that. So I kind of went over the bigger trades here. With that being said, the Vikings, I'll start with them. They traded a 2023 second round and a 2024 third round pick to the Lions for their tight end, TJ Hawkinson. Now, I think this is a great move for the Vikings because they, got rid of Kyle Rudolph a year ago, and now they, really need, a multiple threat as well. Since Adam Thielen's not picking up on that team, Justin Jefferson has to have, more than, it's got to be more than just him, so they take pressure off him as well. I think this is a great trade for the Vikings, and, the Lions, are always kind of in that rebuild mode, and so good to see, them getting draft picks out of that. Next, you got I'll go ahead and talk about it, the Colts. The Colts trade Nyheim Hines to Buffalo for running back Zach Moss and a 6th-round pick that could potentially become a 5th-round pick. Now, I guess Nyheim Hines had some trade value, so, we got rid of him. That's okay. We did get a running back in return for him, and then potentially we could be getting a 5th-round pick, not a 6th-round pick. Now, if you know how to use those picks in the late rounds, then you'll be okay. But I just don't know how it's going to go for us Colts. I think it's a relatively good trade, though. Then you actually have the Bears made 2 moves. Well, kind of, but really a big move that they made was trading for Chase Claypool from the Steelers. And the Bears also sent a 2023 second-round pick for that. So they got Chase Claypool, and they sent a 2023 second-round pick. So they believe Chase Claypool is worth a second-round pick. Now, I believe this. I think he is. He's playing pretty well, decent with the Steelers. But I think, for Justin Fields to have, a really good threat, really good wide receiver, this is going to help the Bears tremendously, at least there. And Chase Claypool coming out of Notre Dame, he's got a tremendous upside as well. Then you also have the Ravens, who traded with the Bears for linebacker Roquan Smith. I know this one is going to hurt Beagle tremendously, so that's why I wish I had him on here to talk about it and how much that's really going to affect them. But then the Bears exchanged Roquan Smith for a linebacker as well, A.J. Klein, and a 2023 second-round pick and a fifth-round pick. So, actually, no. The Ravens exchanged that to get Roquan Smith. So, they only got one player, and they gave up a player and 2 picks in the next year's draft. So second round and a fifth round. And then I believe that's what Roquan Smith is worth, honestly, because he's a great linebacker. He's got great experience. I know, contracts and things like that was iffy in Chicago for Roquan Smith and things like that. So to see him kind of get traded and dealt is a good thing for him personally. And I know it hurts the Bears tremendously because, I know they're all about their defense. But, players will replace him. You got a linebacker, and maybe that second round or fifth round pick linebacker that potentially you pick with that will be able to help slowly pick up the pieces for that, because there's no one like Roquan Smith. But, you got to try to replace him at the end of the day. And then I think the biggest trade not only was the Ravens, but the Broncos traded away Bradley Chubb, their best linebacker, to the Dolphins for a 2023 first-round pick. Not sure what order that's going to be yet. And running back Chase Edmonds. Now, I think they're okay with the running back that they have. I'm not too sure who they have, but Chase Edmonds is one of them, so they got rid of him. And then they got rid of a first-round pick from next year's draft. And I believe Bradley Chubb is worth that. Now, I think people will probably say the same thing, but I believe the Dolphins are in win-now mode. Want to step up that defense, to secure your leads, because you already got Jalen Waddle. You've got Tyreek Hill as long as he can stay healthy. And then you've got, Tua back from injury and stuff like that. And so I just think that they're here to win the Super Bowl now. I think they're here to make the playoffs now. And they want to be able to kind of, win now or win in the next year or two. So I think this is a great trade that the Dolphins did, and I think it's going to work out for them in the end. Now, those are just 5 trades out of the probably 20 or 30 trades that happened yesterday and leading up to, Christian McCaffrey, was the biggest trade, with him going to the 49ers and, that team just getting even better. So, I didn't really talk about that because we've already talked about that, but this was just right before the trade deadline. So I just, that's when a lot of moves happen. And these are the, 5 A moves that I took away from the trade deadline yesterday. Now, with that being said, Beagle will give me his picks for this week tomorrow, and so I'll be able to write them down. And then I'll go ahead and give my picks, and we will see what a record is going to be for this week. Like I said, my last record for last week was 10-5, the best I've ever done. So let's keep that up for me, especially because I need to get in the win column and not in the losing column. I need to be above 500. Right now, I'm still below 500. So, here we go. The first game of Week 9 is the Philadelphia Eagles coming in and playing the Houston Texans. Now, this is a road game for the Philadelphia Eagles, but I don't really think that affects them too much. I believe that they will still get it done on offense. I think they'll still get it done on defense. And Texans maybe score 10, 14 points, but I think the Eagles are going to score, probably 30 or 35, close to that. A.J. Brown had 3 touchdowns last week. So that offense is clicking. That offense is doing what they need to do. They're the best team in the NFL right now, and I'm going Eagles. So I know Beagle and I will probably agree on that pick. So there's that. Then on Sunday at 1 o'clock, your first game is the Indianapolis Colts playing the New England Patriots. Now, both these teams are coming off a loss, I believe. I know the Colts lost 17-16 to the Commanders. Commanders drive down late in the fourth and win the game basically at the end of the game. Actually, the Patriots beat the Jets. So, they're coming off of a win. And I really just don't know with what the Colts. If Jonathan Taylor I just don't know, guys. If he doesn't get started, if he just doesn't take off, I drafted him first in my fantasy league, and he's just not doing me too well right now. So I think, he definitely needs to turn around. I know the Colts are a second-half team, but with Bill Belichick and the experience that the Patriots give, with it being in Foxborough and Mac Jones, they have a one-quarterback system, Mac Jones playing, but, Bailey Zappi, he could get started, or something like that. So I'm going Patriots here. Then next, you've got the Green Bay Packers coming in and playing the Detroit Lions. Now, this is a divisional matchup game, and to really stay afloat with the Vikings, both these teams need to win here, but only one can come out. I mean, could come out as a tie, but normally that just doesn't happen. So, personally, I think the Lions are going to win this, and that is because I just don't think that the Green Bay and the wide receivers and Aaron Rodgers, I just think that potentially they're done this year, and I don't think that they make the playoffs. If they do, they make a wild card, and they're not going to win their division. So I'm going Lions here. Next game you got going on would be the Los Angeles Chargers and the Atlanta Falcons. They play at 1 p.m. as well. Now, the Falcons have been playing pretty good this year. I'm not too sure the record. They are 4-4, along with the Chargers 4-3. So this game could be a toss-up. I really do think that the Chargers get it done this week. They need to, stay at, atop of the AFC and even win games that they play in the NFC just because, they can keep a winning record and they don't have to be a wild card spot. So I'm going Chargers here. Then next at 1 p.m., you got a divisional game. You got the Buffalo Bills coming in and playing the Jets. Now, the Jets have been playing good. Yes, they lost last week to a divisional opponent as well, the Patriots. But, that's not, really going to stop them. They are 5-3, and the Bills are 6-1. You can possibly argue that the Bills are 6-1, or that the Bills are the best team in the NFL. I was looking at the record. And I just think that they still overpower them. I think they're the team to beat in the whole NFL, honestly. And, they're win or go home this year. I think the Bills are really trying to win that Super Bowl. So I'm going Bills here. But this should be probably a close game, at least in the first half. Only because, I think the Bills defense will get to Zach Wilson. And I think he has 3 interceptions on the day. So I'm betting the over 2 or more. Then at 1 o'clock, man, we got a lot of 1 o'clock games here. Next, you've got the Minnesota Vikings coming in and playing the Washington Commanders. Now, like I said, the Commanders were able to get a win versus the Colts last week, but I just don't believe that they'll be able to beat the Vikings. I think the Vikings are playing good enough, well enough, and they did go out and get, T.J. Hawkinson, which a lot of people got to remember that it takes a little bit of time when these players get traded to come in, adapt to a new scheme, and new offense. But I'm still going Vikings here. They're playing well. They're playing great, and they're just going to keep it up. Next, you've got the Carolina Panthers coming in and playing the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I would say Cincinnati Bengals. Let's go for it. But I just don't know. This happened to me last time. The Bengals played horrible, got beat, and then the next week they won. Last week they got beat on Monday night, stomped by Cleveland Browns because the Bengals just could not keep Joe Burrow healthy. Or not healthy, but off the ground. And he's been sacked more times than anybody in the league, I believe, so far this year. And the Panthers can win games that they're just not normally supposed to. And with Jamar Chase being out and they're not getting a running game on with the Bengals, I'm going Panthers here. I think this is my upset game of the week. Then at 1 o'clock, you've got the Las Vegas Raiders coming in and playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, not really too sure what's going to happen. The Raiders lost last week. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they're not doing too bad. They could be doing worse. They are 2-6, and the Raiders are 2-5. So, 2 of the worst teams in the AFC right now. This is their garbage game of the week. Devontae Adams needs to have a game. I think they bounce back, and I think the Raiders win this one. Especially if people have got Devontae Adams on their fantasy team. Now, your last 1 o'clock game is the Miami Dolphins coming in and playing the Chicago Bears. It's a road game for the Miami Dolphins, but I think Dolphins get it done, with just, it's win or go home now. And, they're great at passing. I know the Bears are, have a good defense, but they just trade away one of their star leaders. So I think that's going to affect them and hurt them going into this week, and I think the Dolphins just get it done. Next, you've got the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals playing at 4:05, your first 4 o'clock game. And there's actually only 2 this week because they all play at 1 o'clock basically. You've got the Seattle Seahawks coming in and playing the Cardinals. Now, this is a divisional game. With that being said, the Cardinals are 3-5 and the Seahawks are 5-3. So, Not really what I expected. I think I would see a flip-flop there with the Cardinals being 5-3, but they're just not getting it together this year. And with that being said, I think, Geno Smith, like I said, he's got to decline sometime, but I don't think that's just yet. So I think that team, the Seahawks, play pretty well. I know they're going on the road. Maybe D-Hop gets it done with the Cardinals. I just don't really know, but I should have bet on the Seahawks last week when they won, so I got to go Seahawks. I'm not going to miss out 2 weeks in a row. Then you've got the LA Rams coming in and playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, this is a road game for the Rams. They're not playing too hot this year, being the defending Super Bowl champions. They're 3-4, with the Buccaneers being 3-5. So it's early. Yes, those records are going to get better as we go along, or they could get worse. But I think Tom Brady is really struggling, and the Rams have a great defense. I know the Buccaneers have a pretty good defense as well, but I think the Rams kind of counterback, do well, and I think the Rams are going to win this week. Tom Brady I don't know. I think Tom Brady's going to have one of the worst years that he's going to have this season. So next, at 8:20, our first late game of the week, Sunday night, 8:20, is the Tennessee Titans versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Bills blew up Tennessee Chiefs a couple weeks ago, and I think the Chiefs are going to do the same thing to the Tennessee Titans. I think it's kind of close at the beginning of the game. I think, Derrick Henry definitely has a touchdown or so. But I think the Chiefs are definitely, they're clicking. They're doing well. If I look at their record, they're 5-2. The Titans are 5-2 as well. So potentially game of the week right here, being Sunday night. And like I said, I think the Chiefs get it done. But I think that the Titans play well kind of first half. I don't know if a rookie quarterback is getting a start or not. If so, I think, Patrick Mahomes and the offense takes advantage of it. And I think that they'll play pretty well. So I think the Chiefs are going to come out on top. Then on Monday night at 8:15, you got the Baltimore Ravens coming in and playing the Saints. This is a road game. Now, the Saints haven't been playing too well. If I look at their record here, they are 3-5, and the Ravens are 5-3. With that being said, the Ravens should be undefeated. The Ravens should at least be 8-0, or if not, they should at least be, 7-1. Or whatever, at least one loss in there potentially. But I just think the Ravens can play better, should play better, and they're going to close out games, and they're just going to play a lot better. So like I said, they traded for Roquan Smith, and that's where they need to step up their defense and get better. And I think this is going to help them. And I know, like I said, it takes a minute for, to get used to the play calls and the schemes of a different team. But I really do think that the Ravens get it done here. I really can't disagree with them here. I feel like Beagle's going to be picking that one as well. Like I said, I got the Saints, being a wild card, being a sleeper in the NFC. But if they don't get it together, then maybe they won't be, just because Jameis Winston hasn't really been playing. He's been hurt. And so, just really staying healthy is key for a lot of these teams. And, it's been the year of the upsets and whatnot. And I know I didn't pick too many upsets this week, but I definitely, picked 1, 2, I guess, kind of, Lions beating the Packers. But, there's not really too many upsets, and especially, teams are really having buys this week. They're having, I think 2 teams are on buys. I think the Cowboys and the 49ers are on buy. But a lot of teams are having buys. Their buys are starting to come every week. And so you're seeing, teams getting rested, coming at the right time, and hopefully, those bye weeks pay off for a lot of these teams. With that being said, guys, that's it. This is a short podcast week. It's really only like 20 minutes long, so please watch this, give your picks, comment below what you guys think I'm going to go next week, my record. Like I said, I'll put Beagles on here as well, and hopefully Beagle can be on here next week. If not, I'll definitely, get a special guest. So thank you guys all so much for watching, and until next week, let's go football.